Daniel's legs ached, but he forced himself to move. The corridor behind him had vanished, replaced by a vast expanse of shadows and pulsing light. Every heartbeat felt amplified, echoing against walls that seemed to bend and ripple with awareness. He knew instinctively that this was the heart of the building, the source of its will and power. Ahead, the central figure loomed, immense and unyielding. Its presence warped the air around it, bending reality itself. Shadows surged like waves, circling Daniel, whispering, taunting, demanding surrender. But he pressed on, repeating his mantra, "I will not be consumed." The room around him seemed alive, almost breathing. Floors shifted beneath his feet, ceilings stretched and contracted, and walls twisted as if trying to contain him. Shadows coalesced into shapes of people he had wronged or failed, their eyes accusing, their mouths silent, but somehow screaming in his mind. Daniel's chest tightened. Fear surged like fire through his veins, memories of past mistakes clawing at him. But he drew a deep breath, grounding himself in the glowing symbols he had memorized. They pulsed faintly, a map through the chaos. A shadow lunged at him, taking the form of a woman he had known briefly but ignored, a minor regret from years ago. Her eyes glowed with unspoken anguish. Daniel ducked instinctively, feeling her claws brush his shoulder. The whisper of her voice echoed, "You could have saved me." Daniel froze, the weight of guilt threatening to crush him. Then he whispered firmly,
Change the past.
"I cannot change the past, but I will not be trapped by it." The shadow shrieked, recoiling, dissolving into mist. Daniel realized that acknowledgement alone wasn't enough. He needed defiance. The central figure shifted, a mass of darkness and twisted shadows, radiating a power that pressed on his soul. Its voice, deep and resonant, filled the room. All who enter must surrender or remain. Daniel's hands trembled, but he advanced. Every step was a battle against gravity, against time itself, against fear. The shadows swirled, clawing, reaching, attempting to pull him into the abyss. Yet he moved, tracing the glowing symbols mentally, using them as anchors in the chaos. The building reacted violently. Floors cracked, walls groaned, and the air shimmered with energy. Shadows merged, forming giant hands that reached for him. Daniel felt himself being lifted, twisted, forced toward the central figure. Every fear, every regret, every memory surged inside him like a storm. He fell to his knees, struggling, gasping for breath. And then clarity struck. The shadows drew their power from his hesitation. His fear gave them strength. His doubt allowed the building to control him. He clenched his fists, planted his feet, and shouted, "I will not be consumed!" The shout reverberated through the building. Shadows recoiled, the air vibrated, and the central figure paused, sensing the defiance. Daniel pushed forward, following the light beyond the figure. Shadows lashed, attempting to drag him back, but he pressed on, each step deliberate, each breath of victory. Ahead, he saw another doorway, brighter than the others. Unlike the previous doors, this one pulsed with warmth and possibility. Daniel reached out, hand trembling, and felt a force pushing back, resistance from the building itself. The central figure surged toward him. Shadows exploded outward, forming humanoid shapes, faces twisted in anguish and rage. Daniel felt the pull of the building, a weight pressing on his mind, his soul, his body. He staggered, nearly falling, yet he forced himself to take one more step, then another, focusing solely on the glowing doorway ahead. His mind traced the symbols he had learned, visualizing the path, anchoring himself against the building's will. The shadows shrieked and hissed, but he pressed forward. Each moment was a battle, yet each step was a triumph over the building's control. Daniel remembered the carvings on the first doors, the faint glowing symbols that had guided him. They weren't just marks, they were instructions, a way to survive. He followed their pattern mentally, connecting them, visualizing the path to freedom. The shadows surged one last time, massive and furious. The central figure reached out with tendrils of darkness. Daniel lunged, heart racing, grasping the glowing doorway ahead. A brilliant light enveloped him. The shadows hissed, shrieking, but recoiled. The figure bellowed, the building pulsing violently, yet Daniel held firm. He felt the oppressive weight lift slightly. The doorway solidified. It was real. It was escape. He stepped through. The air shifted. The shadows scattered like mist, and the oppressive energy loosened. Daniel stumbled forward, exhausted, trembling, but alive. The corridor beyond was still, almost normal. Daniel realized that the building had allowed him to survive. It had tested his courage, his will, and his defiance. He had faced his fears, acknowledged his regrets, and refused to surrender. The building had respected his strength, for now. Yet a whisper followed him, faint but distinct. The trial is not over. The patient doors await the next visitor. Daniel shivered. He understood that freedom was temporary, that the building's presence lingered, and that his endurance had not ended its hunger. He walked slowly, each step measured. The hallway stretched normally. Doors returned to their places. Shadows lingered at the edges of vision but did not attack. The light ahead, soft and inviting, promised rest, yet he knew it was only a brief respite. The building had marked him. It would wait. And when it called again, he would need to be stronger, sharper, braver. Daniel exhaled, exhausted, but resolute. The central figure was gone, for now. But he had survived the heart of the building. He had confronted the ultimate test and endured. The faint glow of the doorway ahead beckoned him, a promise of continuation, a chance to escape further trials. Yet deep in his mind, he knew the building's reach extended beyond this moment. Shadows would remember, whispers would persist, and the doors would remain patient, waiting for the next curious soul.